Hello and welcome to my video. Today I will be talking about the Season 20 update and I want to tell everything important what happened, what I liked, what I disliked and my ideas to fix it. Furthermore, I will talk about what we know will still come this or next season and what I personally think about it. This all will be very subjective, so there could be some things that you don't agree on. Without further ado, let's start. First of all, how did the update start? This update had a bit more bugs than the other updates, which is understandable because they brought a whole new mechanic into the game, which often doesn't go flawless. First of all, Crimson RT had a glitch where he not only fired a projectile from his standard form, he also had a shockwave from his super, which normally doesn't activate when he shoots. Not only that, but also Chester had a glitched skin. His spirit skin allowed him to give him Rockpox, his area control super, every time he used his Sunning super, Bomb super or Poison super. I'm not sure about this, but one time it happened to me that I suddenly dealt over 2k damage next to him after he threw his Bomb super away from him. These were the glitched skins, but there were also other bugs. The last two gameplay bugs I noticed was that Bull got every super a 80% damage reduction shield from his hypercharge, even if he doesn't have it activated. The only thing you needed to do was to buy his hypercharge. If you didn't have his hypercharge, it wouldn't trigger. The other bug, which is still in the game, is that Jackie's hypercharge has a way bigger range than intended. Her slowing effect hits enemies even if they didn't get pulled with her super. In this clip she even slowed the sniper bot, which is way far from her normal super range. All bugs besides the Jackie bug got fixed 3 days after the update dropped. Besides the bugs, everything went well and we got even a free mythic star drop for the maintenance break, which was really nice. Next, I want to talk about the skins which came in this update. All of the skins were great. This update came with a ton of them and many high quality ones. There were 2 299 gem skins and 2 199 gem skins, which is probably the most high costing gem skins we ever got in an update. All look amazing. They have custom effects, which is really worth the price, if not even more. For example, the Scorpion Eve could probably have been costing 150 gems if they really wanted to. Also, the new Brawl Academy skins, which is a new series of skins, seem like they would get more skins added after time in future updates. Like for example the Teacher Ballet skin there was in the background of the loading screen. They did many brawler skin concepts everywhere from this theme, and I could see them really being good in game. This could also tease maybe a new trio, which we don't know at the moment if it's really a new coming trio. Also with the jockey Stu and Maker Edgar, they added custom death animations if the enemy gets defeated, which is really cool and will definitely be added later for other 299 gem skins, which is a really good feature in my opinion. Next up are the new brawlers introduced in this update. In this update we got Pearl and Chuck. They are both, in my opinion, great additions to the game. Pearl, which most of us know, is a tanky damage dealer with a shot like Pam and a super which lets her explode and deals enormous damage if you're near to her. She has a new feature called Heat, which lets her deal extra damage if she didn't attack for a longer time. Her bar decreases every time she shoots and refills in around about 10 seconds, if you don't shoot at all. She's labeled that she would have a normal movement speed, but if you actually look at her movement speed to other normal movement speed brawlers, you see that she's actually slower than average. For that she got a lot of HP for a damage dealer and she has a very good damage output. So much damage that she really doesn't need to rely on her new mechanic Heat to deal really good damage. With full charge Heat she does insane damage, and with her gadget at full health you will be scared of getting hit with even one of her projectiles. Her super is really good to get people off of you who are too close to you and breaking walls and dealing massive damage. Her first star power makes that she loses 50% less heat if you activate her super instead of wasting all your heat for the damage output. Her first star power makes her lose 50% heat instead of all her heat if she uses her super, which is really good in aggressive game modes like Brawl Ball. On the other hand, Her other star power gives her a 20% shield for all the time if she has more than 80% heat, which is good in passive modes like knockout or wipeout. She will probably get soon a nerf, but what I would do is to make her rely way more on her heat, but for that give her a faster heat charge. What I would do is I would give her a small HP and main attack nerf, a small heat nerf, but for that she would get her max heat in 5 seconds instead of 10. This would make her focus more about her new mechanic and would balance her out. The next brawler is Chuck, which of the time of the recording is not out right now. His main attack is a long-lasting shot like Ems, dealing more damage multiple times if you're closer to him. His super is really interesting. For his first super he will throw out train poles, which he uses for his second super, which can only be activated if he's in range of his train poles. He dashes from one pole to the next pole till he can't reach one of them or he runs out of poles. This gives him insane mobility if you have placed the super correctly. His first star power makes that he can throw another pole for extra mobility and extra damage. His second star power steals 33% of the enemy's ammo if he rushes over them with his second super. This star power doesn't sound that good because he will automatically dash to the other poles and they can probably hit all 3 shots till he's already gone. Also 33% of the enemy's ammo isn't that much, and that star power gets also way outshined by his other star power. With 4 poles he can get from the spawn to the enemy's heist safe even with invincibility, which is crazy. He will probably be mainly played for the objectives. He can make his train poles to build a road from his side to the enemy side of the map to chip down on for example, the heist safe over and over again. Or he will make the middle of the map really risky to go in because his super does insane damage. One part that I didn't say is that he also gets his super automatically every 5 seconds, which means he will have built his track pretty quick. And every 5 seconds after that he can travel everywhere he wants to. Like it seems in the moment, he will be the best brawler if he doesn't get nerfs before he comes out, which he will probably get. I see many options here. Either you reduce his train poles that he can only throw 3 of them out with his first star power, or you can make it that he doesn't get his invincibility shield if he respawns and make that his super has no hitbox. The reason why I would remove his invincibility shield is that he couldn't at least get to the other side of the map with his super directly and chip down on enemies' heists, for example. I'm really interested to see how they will handle Chuck if my guess is correct that he will be broken. But of course he will probably be very fun to play. Now after that I want to talk about the new game mode changes. This update also removed at the start 2 game mode slots and made the removed game modes Heist and Hot Zone, which only would appear at the weekend, swapping with the other weekend game modes. Jump Cup was also brought outside the permanent rotation, now swapping with every other game mode every 24 hours. Siege also got back at the game, which I am really happy for. This all was done to try to make matchmaking faster. In my opinion this was an interesting idea, but even at high trophies like 800 trophies and higher, Brawl Stars is still one of the fastest games with matchmaking. I personally never had a problem in Brawl waiting over 30 seconds or something if it's in a reasonable time under 2 minutes. Also this didn't change anything for lower trophy players outside removing options to play from. They noticed themselves that this idea didn't work out how they expected to. In the podcast they told they would return the 2 missing game mode slots again in an update that will come later this week, which happened at the time of the recording for 2 days. Now Jam Cup is back 24/7 as well as Knockout being in one slot 24/7, which I'm really happy to see for. And also Heist and Hot Zone are back in the rotation, of course. I think it's understandable that they tried this idea, but I'm very happy to see them changing their mind even before the next update. Next up I'm gonna talk about an event that happened and an event that's happening still right now at the moment. Till this point, while I'm recording the video, there are 2 events which happened this update. The first event was a Twitch Drops event where you got rewards in Brawl for watching up to 2 hours on Twitch. These rewards were 300 coins, for 30 minutes watching, 150 power points and 50 blink for 1 hour watching, and 10 gems plus a profile icon for 2 hours watching. This was really nice, but what's happening right now at the moment till October 18th is way bigger. It may even be the biggest event Brawl Stars has ever had. Right now, again, there is a takedown event where you can earn star drops every X amount of eliminations. At 500 million we got a super rare star drop, at 1 billion and 2 billion we get an epic star drop, at 3 billion we get a mythic star drop, and at 4 billion we get a legendary star drop. And every billion after that we get another legendary star drop. So there are still 2 more things. Next we have a double star drop event right now till the 18th. Which means that we earn, instead of 3 star drops every day, 6 star drops. And now comes the crazy thing they are doing right now at the moment with giveaways, and I've never seen a game doing something like that. First of all, they are giving away many 170 gem packs, which is really nice, but also 5 of these 170 gem packs have a golden code in it. And if you're really lucky and get the golden code, you can wish for everything, like almost everything you want in Brawl Stars, which is crazy. The amount of possibilities you can wish for is endless. Of course, it's only one wish, so you need to choose them wisely. Some examples I will give is, for example, you could wish for every skin, every pin, but I will make something clear right now. If you want to wish for every skin and every pin, just say you want to have every cosmetic, then you will even get all profile icons and all sprays, and you will probably get everything, like even the exclusive ones. And another example is, if you want to have like 1 million gems, for example, don't wish for 1 million gems. Wish rather that you have unlimited gems, that you can purchase anything you want, what you want pretty much. This will probably even be allowed because it's only on one account. If you try to do it, for example, asking like on multiple accounts, there I could see them crossing the line and saying like, no, that's not really possible. Or if you want to do it for the whole community, because else the Brawl team can't make really updates where they introduce something with gems, because if everybody had unlimited gems, where would be the reason to really play the game and progress into the game? What I'm really excited for is like seeing, for example, a community skin. If one of these 5 people say like they want a community skin, or like a one-in-a-kind item, for example, a special banner for them, a title for them, or like even, for example, the name in game, if you play, gets changed. Instead of being the typical blue and red, instead of that being golden, for example. And I will be very interested what will be the 5 wishes. Okay, now let's get to more controversial topics. First of all, the power level change. If you didn't know, after the last update, every brawler gets now a 10% increase to his stats than the 5% increase they got before. First of all, this makes leveling way more important due to now having a bigger difference. Just as a reference, this makes a power level 11 brawler have double the stats as a power level 1 brawler. Second, this makes now all the numbers way bigger. For example, Frank has now 15k in HP instead of the 10k he had before this update, which is for the first days or the first weeks confusing. I sometimes thought I could like rush into the enemies even though they dealt more damage, but I thought because of my higher health I could actually get them, but because they also deal more damage, that's why they got me, because I forgot the power level change. This makes it a bit more confusing, but only at the start, because it doesn't change any main interactions at max level. Besides, and now that leads to my third part, preset numbers from, for example, gadgets, gears, or star powers. This was already leaked in the podcast that they would fix it in the next update. But for now, that makes some star power now pretty unbalanced because they have way less value. Overall, I personally as a player don't really like this change, even though I'm a max player with everybody being power level 11, but I can see why they did it. They even explained it in the podcast in detail why exactly they did it, so if you want to know exactly why they did it, you can watch it there. Next I want to talk about the new gadget gear. So the newest gear introduced into this game is the gadget gear. I really like this idea for a gear, but it shows there is still a big problem with gears, which I will talk about in a second. This gear will give your brawler a 4th gadget, which is really good for some brawlers like Crow or Squeak, but also bad on some brawlers who have 2 bad gadgets. As much as I like it, there is a huge problem which was for me very obvious after the implementation. To 100% max out, which I mean to buy every gear and max out every brawler, you need to buy now the new gear on every single brawler. For reference, I don't even have every gear unlocked, and this adds now more than 70k gold I need to get without a big buff to progression in this update, which I will also talk about later. This singular gear showed me that the gear system is still flawed, because there is no way they could add a new gear for every brawler more than once a year. The price of 1k per gear is just too much and it doesn't feel worth it all the time. With these coins you rather buy a gadget, upgrade to a new power level with one of your brawlers, wait till you have enough coins for a star power, or just save them for hyperchargers. Especially after this update you will have now your first gear slot at power level 8 and your second gear slot at power level 10, instead of the previous update being level 11 and level 10. In my opinion, gears either should be, for example, 350 coins each, and you should unlock extra gears at power level 5 and power level 6. If they would do that, the Brawl dev team could definitely make way more gears with more abilities that takes, for example, more than 1 gear slot, and would be able to release more gears every 2 or so updates because of the cheaper price. I would like to see way more gears. For example, a gear which makes your total health go higher, not the shield gear. A gear which activates only if there is a counter like in Gem Grab, and this gives you extra, like for example speed, damage and health boosts. I also want a gear which improves all of your stats by a certain amount. And I want a gear which buffs, for example, only your speed, but not only if you're in bushes, but permanent. There are so many cool gear ideas, but it's right now not possible to make them because of the current price. Because if you would buy a gear, for example, at power level 8, and you don't have a gadget unlocked, why would you buy a gear if you can buy a gadget? Speaking about high costs, we have now hypercharges. Hypercharges are a new mechanic released with the last update. Only 6 brawlers have them being Shelly, Colt, Bull, Jackie, Spike and Pearl. They will unlock at power level 11. If you got a hypercharge, you will get a new button which charges similar to your super, but it takes 2.5 times as long to charge. If you press the hypercharge button, you will get a damage, speed and a shield buff for 5 seconds, and your super will get a new effect, personalized for what super you have. For example, Shelly gets a bigger super, Colt gets a bigger super, Spike gets a bigger super. But don't worry, the other ones have better mechanics. Like Bull, who gets a 80% damage reduction while his super is activated. Or Jackie, who now slows enemies who got quote-unquote hit by her super. I'm kidding, her range is way bigger. And lastly Pearl, which has the most interesting one. But her kit just makes it counterproductive. After using her super, she spawns a big area of control circle, which looks a bit like, I don't know, void. And also it has a bigger hitbox than it seems like, which damages enemies nearby. Which sounds really good, but if you realize that her super knocks enemies back, well, that doesn't make it as good because nobody will be in range after they got knocked back and they won't run into it. It's a really cool concept, and I think it's probably the best theoretical hypercharge that there is right now with the most interesting effect, but it just doesn't suit Pearl with her kit, sadly. All around, I really like hypercharges Though at the start I thought they would give a completely different attack and a completely different super for example 10 seconds to change up your brawler completely. But like they said, they didn't want to make it too complicated, which I also understand why they did like an extra super effect and gave them some boosts. They said in the podcast that the hypercharge should be very fun to play, which they really accomplished with a speed boost, damage boost and a shield boost. Not only that, but they told that they want to make a hypercharge challenge, which I will also talk about later, in the future for one hypercharge every update. I really think it's good that some hypercharges are basic, especially with the starting brawler. But I think Spike, for example, he's a legendary, he should have gotten a really unique hypercharge. So let's talk about the prices of hypercharges. They are extremely expensive. Normally, one of them costs 5,000 coins, which is very much on its own. But to buy them in the first 2 weeks, they only come in special offers, which cost 9,600 coins or 300 gems. For that, you get special cosmetics on these brawlers, which is cool that you can now buy with coins some cosmetics, but 10k for most players, or for every player pretty much, is a lot. Basically, you only buy these offers if you are a max player or you can't wait for your favorite brawler's hypercharge, or you really want these cosmetics because they look good. Though I need to say that you can at least buy them with coins, which is really nice of them. They could have just done it with only gems like they did in China and let it at that, and I'm really glad they didn't do that and gave us the option to buy it with coins, even if it's really expensive. Better expensive than not at all. I really hope they will decrease the prices of it, because if you want to buy a hypercharge on every brawler, then you gotta be very, very rich with your coins. And we are talking about the 5,000 coins hypercharge. Now imagine it with the 10,000 coin special offers. But there's one thing. One hypercharge gets added with a unique challenge, which is really good. But I will be honest here, this challenge is one of my least favorite challenges I ever played in Brawl. You need to win 25 games, which doesn't sound too bad on its own. This is indirectly 200 coins per win, which is actually very good. But you can't play with your team. You can't play with teammates. You are forced to play with randoms, which is very annoying. And not only that, but you don't get every match 200 coins. No, you get them all. You get this one hypercharge only if you hit the 25th win. And for example, if you would go to 24 wins and then you don't have time, for example, and then the challenge runs out, well, you get nothing, which is not really good. Of course, that won't happen to most people, but it is still a possibility which could happen. Not only that, but the mode you play, the map you play and the brawler you play are all random, which is fine in my opinion, but if you get, for example, 6 times in a row a close range brawler on, for example, shooting stars, it will get annoying. Especially if you can only play with randoms and can't coordinate in a team. And for me personally, because I have really good teammates, the randoms made it really hard for me, because sometimes they disconnected and it was sometimes really not fun to play, which is a bit sad because normally I really love challenges, especially like some unique perks, like for example some other challenges have temporary modes, for example the invisibility we got on Halloween, or even if some people got nauseous because of it, the boat where you get sometimes faster if you go right and go left, which is a really unique mechanic but doesn't really get into a brawl often. In my opinion, if the challenge could be played with teams, it would make it way more better. That said, it was still worth it at the end, because you got a free hypercharge, of course.
Hello, Future Octa here.
So it's now the next season and I can tell the rest of what happened the last season. Chuck got offered where you can get him for 7 days early, and you got also many resources, but he costed 25 euro. This is the first time they actually done this and I'm actually fine with it, but it would have been nice if they told us that in a Brawl Talk. This is the first time you couldn't get a brawler free to play at the first day even with gems. They didn't nerf him till the next update, so everybody had a broken brawler after the 7 days. My theory was correct that he was broken, but I was wrong about him getting nerfed while the early access came. Also the Brawl Talk came and we got to see Charlie. She's the newest chromatic brawler who could trap enemies and has a similar attack to Carl. She's one of the best brawlers right now because of her super that if you get hit by you're basically done for. You get out of it with 25% less of your health than you had before because of her star power. You have not enough space to flee from and you're probably being guarded while you're trapped. I like though that your teammates can help you get out of the cocoon early. With the right changes, she could probably be one of the most balanced brawlers, which I think would be really cool. Also, the skins were again amazing this time, except Clown Sam, which gives me nightmares every time I face him. Also, the exclusive skin color variations are really good, and I love that the people who already have the original ones get a 50% discount. This is really well done. The Shelly and the Leon skins were also changed up a bit with the animations, and even me who had already the originals, I bought them just because the animations and the new stuff they all had. That was really good. They removed the PowerPoint cap, which is a huge nerf to maxed out players like me who need their coins for gears and for hypercharges. Speaking about hypercharges, now they are locked for the first 2 weeks behind gems, so you can't get them anymore with 10,000 coins. You still can get them from star drops and the challenge though. Speaking about the challenge, you now can play in a team and you don't even need to win to progress the challenge. Now you just need to activate your hypercharges. Of course, brawlers like Maisie will shine now here, and brawlers like Jessie will be worse here, but that change is still really good and it made the challenge way more fun and way faster. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Brawl Pass change they are doing in Season 22. They told us that at the last day of Season 20, so this still counts for this video. So, after Season 21, the Charlie season, there will be no more Brawl Pass for gems. Instead they will buff the regular Brawl Pass by a ton, which even if you buy every second Brawl Pass is still a buff. And they make the exclusive Brawl Pass now be for money. They also have 2 tiers of the Brawl Pass, the normal Brawl Pass and then the Brawl Pass Plus. Also, the chromatic rarity will be removed and every single chromatic brawler will be split into epic, mythic and legendary rarities after season. This means like buying Surge and Cordelius right now because they're going to be legendary is the best way to spend your chroma credits right now. If handled right, this could be an amazing change, though I think they should have told us that in the last Brawl Talk, like as a disclaimer that after the season there will be no more Brawl Pass for gems, because then more people would spend their gems they have right now for this Brawl Pass. So I hope you enjoyed this video, sorry that it came out too late. I still hope you enjoyed it and I wish you all a great rest of your day.